Hey guys, so I thought I'd do something a little different, moving away from tarot, but something that really ties into it, numerology. So if you ever heard the term numerology, it's very close to the word numbers because it deals with numbers and how they're significant to your life, um, what kind of spiritual journey you have based on your life path number, the numbers that are going to come about throughout your lives at certain times. They mean different things, and kind of understanding a little bit more about yourself. Um, and it's basically like astrology, but in a mathematical sense. It's a little I wouldn't say it's easier to interpret, but you can physically see it. Um, if you're more into um, practical ways of thinking, like you Earth signs would probably be a little more into numerology than maybe astrology necessarily. Astrology is about putting things together based on what a sign represents, or a planet, or an asteroid or something. So um, numerology is more about literally these numbers that come up in your life again and again. Look at your phone number, look at your address, look at if there's a certain time you always notice on the clock. Your birthday is very influential. All these numbers that we kind of take for granted actually have spiritual significance, and so through numerology you can kind of unlock some of that meaning of what they're trying to tell you. Okay, so I'm just going to get started by showing you, like, really basic how to find out your chart, for lack of a better word. Um, so numerology, we go, 1 through 9 on the grid, and it's basically like a tic-tac-toe grid. So you're gonna draw like this. Okay. So you start with 1 at the bottom, you move up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're going to end up with 3, 6, and 9 on the top line, and 1, 4, and 7 on the bottom. So your bottom line is really about those grounding energies. They're practical by nature. Um, they're very refined, hard-working energies. So think of your earth elements, so Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Um, your middle is going to be kind of what holds you together, your internal world, and that is your feeling world. Um, and that's going to be your emotions. So that's obviously the water signs. So 2, 5, and 8. Is what really those numbers are going to represent. So you've got water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So we'll look out for those. And then on the top there, you've got your air signs, of course. So they're reaching new heights. So 3, 6, and 9. So Gemini, um, uh, Libra, and Aquarius. So it's not necessarily one sign as assigned to each number, but it's easier to paint an understanding when you kind of associate at least the line to an element to kind of understand it a little more. And then we'll get what's called arrows, and to me those represent fire energy, so we'll get into that. But first, you're just going to start by taking your birthday. So I'm going to use, let's see, September 16th, 94. Okay. Um, so then you're going to draw a blank tic-tac-toe grid, and before you fill it out, you're actually going to fill it up with the numbers represented in your birth date. So we've got a 9 here. That's going to go in the 9, just like in this full one up here. 9 goes at the top corner. We have a 1, which goes exactly opposite down there. We have a 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goes on the top. We have another 1, so we're just going to add that in the same box next to the first one we drew. That is significant. We'll talk about that. And then we have 2 9s. So we're going to draw those next to the other 9. And then lastly, we have a 4. And 4 goes at the bottom in the middle column. So this is your birthday represented in a numerological chart, okay? What you want to notice here is the numbers that are repeated. When you have multiple of the same number in a box, then that's significant. So this 1 and 1 here, 1 is a significant energy for you. So you're a beginner. You go through a lot of transformation and lots of beginnings. You're a starter, so you really you take on a lot of projects. You have great ideas. You really put things into motion. And also, since you have this 9, 9 is completion. So you're really able to start things and see them through to finish. So it's this constant, really big opening and closing energy based on your birth date. The 6 and the 4 is really good to have in that middle column because then that can kind of stabilize you. Because if you just have stuff on either side, then that's kind of like extremes. So you really want to see as many of these boxes filled in as possible, okay? That really represents a full balance, a full spectrum individual. Now, you will never see, at least to my knowledge, someone with all of these filled in because you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 possible numbers in your birth date, and say everyone born in the 90s is going to have at least 2 9s in there and a 1. Anyone born in the 20th century is going to have that 19 to begin with. So you're really not going to see, you're going to see a lot of people with 9s and 1s. That's going to be very common for people around, born in the 1990s. So what we also see here is we are missing this crucial middle row, this emotional world, that internal world. So we really, really, with this chart here, it tells me that this person really struggles with emotion, doesn't know how to express themselves emotionally, and then that's going to be the kind of the focus on your life and like how to cope with that, how to handle that. Because we're always beginning and closing is maybe because we can't find a middle ground. We can't be calm and strong internally. So we're always having to go through these extremes to kind of get us through things, okay? So now we have these numbers down here represent, like I said, the Earth, the practical world, like 1, like the first Earth sign that we know is Taurus. Taurus is all about gaining money, gaining possessions. It's finally getting an allowance. It's coming out of that child Aries state and finally earning things for yourself. So we have a lot of that. Like you definitely work hard and you earn, and you've definitely got some material possessions. This is pretty good to see a very self-taught individual, someone that's doing well for themselves. And the 4 here kind of represents that middle ground Earth, so it's a more stable when it's in the middle. So that 4 is that Virgo energy. We'll just say that's maybe realize they do have a lot, and the beauty of giving. So Virgos are very generous. They love to give, help out with charities, things like that. So it's turning that material wealth that you've earned and really putting it to use, and not just for yourself. Okay. And now we don't have any Capricorn energy here, so it's not really a big career focus for you. You don't have to have the career. You don't have to have like all that recognition. You don't have to be the star or like people to notice you and your work and as this symbiotic thing. It's really about just the comfortable stability that earning things for yourself, and then that act of giving kind of gives you, okay? Um, so now we don't have anything to look at in the middle. So let's look at the top. So we're missing a 3 here. A 3 is, your basic mind, that Gemini, Mercury energy. We have Virgo down here. Um, and I know I said before I don't associate these with the signs, but obviously I do in a way. Hopefully it's the right way of understanding it or helps you. So you do have some Mercury with this Virgo down here, but this Gemini is missing. So maybe you don't have a rapidity of thought. You're not quite as swift as a thinker. Virgos, are a little more slow to get there, but they do, and they're a little more perfectionist, just like the Earth energies. They really want to, if they put the time into something, it's going to be right. It's going to be worth their while, okay? So you don't just jump, okay? You really put in that work, put in that sweat. So the 6 here, we do have a 6. So that 6 is a very caring, nurturing sign, just like a 4, like that Virgo, giving back is responsible. A 6 is more of a person that can counsel, can kind of give wisdom. It's taking that knowledge from Gemini, that rapidity of thought, that quickness of mind, and ideas and answers, and it's putting it to a social use. Okay, we'll think of this middle column as the social, how we help others column almost. Um, so that mercurial energy is really the benefactor of that, and wants to give and share that. And then we move to the 9s here. So this is the highest concentration in this chart. We have 3 9s. What that means is lots of endings in your life. It could be death in a spiritual sense, like you feel like you're constantly reinventing yourself through life, like you really shed your skin to start anew with this ones, and you may do it, again and again. It's this big cycle that happens for you, and it may not scare you because there's so much of that in your chart. It's just natural. Hopefully, it doesn't mean a lot of death around you. It is possible with that 9. 9 is going on to something else. It's completing. It's finishing, and then that can mean death. So hopefully that really hasn't affected you a lot. But I think more so it's just about transformation. Sagittarius is the 9th sign, and it's all about discovery. And I think you have to be able to discover. You have to be able to complete, to move on, to let go. So that's really important in that 9 energy. And that means that you're going to achieve a lot too with this 9. It's achievements, it's completion. What you set out to do, you accomplish, and it's a very rewarding process, this cycle here. So the only thing that you miss is kind of that internal world, really connecting to this journey emotionally. You've got that intellect, that constant thought. You know what you want, you're planning for the future, and you've got that stability to guide you and ground you and keep you sane, because too much thought can be a bad thing, and too much slow movement, too much refinement, too much perfectionist tendencies can be harmful as well. So you've got that, but you don't have this middle stability that so you really may have some emotional turmoil, and you just don't know how to deal with emotions. You could easily just run away, or just not handle it. Maybe you bubble, you burst like a volcano. You just let it build, and it lashes out. A lot of air signs do that. And then this earth signs, they tend to get a little more passive aggressive. They tend to get, a little more cynical. So things like that. So maybe that's how you process, since you don't have that. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to show you kind of the arrows and what those can mean. So I'm not going to go into all the possibilities of arrows, but I'm going to show you at least for this chart. So how you draw an arrow is similar to like a tic-tac-toe. So in this sense, you can either draw an arrow for a group of 3, where something is present in the box, which we don't have that combination. You know, here there's that missing, and then here there's that missing, and then in the middle it's missing. So we can't necessarily draw an arrow where there's three things together like this. What we can do is we can draw an arrow through this empty 3. And here we've got that feeling mode has an arrow too. So these arrows are significant. I do recommend looking them up online. I'm not going to go into kind of how it all works, but to me that's the fire energy. You know, especially Sagittarius is the archer, and look at that ending up with a 9 that I talked about previously. That's Sagittarius, and so you know that's right there at the arrowhead. That's as high as it can go. Um, and to me, you know, that fire is that passion, it's that drive, it's going forward in a direction. And that's why I always associate the last element, fire, with the arrows. So these things help you get to that arrow, you know, help you get that drive. You have to have these other factors in place to really go forth and to lead and be creative and be passionate and do proceed with your spiritual journey. So now, not all charts are going to have an arrow. You know, it may be to where you have something in there but not enough to complete anything, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that there's not a specific emphasis, a path going forward, that you would have to do your name to really figure out where that balance is. So we're going to move on here. I know that's a lot, but I really just want to show you guys how to do a name in numerology because it's similar to this process. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, we'll use my name, Tyler, and so what you do is each letter of the alphabet is assigned a number 1 through 9. Okay, and you know you start off with A, obviously is 1, B 2, C 3, and so forth, and then those numbers recycle once you hit 9. So I'm going to just quickly cheat and look on my phone to see what those would be for me, because I do not have it on my phone somewhere. And don't let me forget about the life path number because that's very significant. That's really how you refer to yourself in numerology, and we can easily find that out. I just want to find the name stuff real quick. Let's see. Almost there. It's pretty far back. Okay. Alright, this is a little hard to find, but I don't want to end this video because I'm going to start another one. Let's see here, guys. Be patient with me. So your life path number, you're literally just going to add up your whole birth date, month, day, and year, and you're going to reduce it down to a number 1 through 11. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Here we go. Okay, so we'll do that first since I'm talking about it. So let's take this birth date for example. This is just a random date I picked. So we've got the month of September, which is 9. So we're going to take 9 plus 16, but you're going to break it down so it's an individual digit. So you're going to add 9 plus 1 plus 6. So don't add 9 plus 16, add 9 plus 1 plus 6. You're going to do that for the year too. So you're going to add each individual digit. So we've got 9 plus 1 is 10, 16, 17, 26, 35, and plus 4 is 39. So 39, um, you're then going to add, because we want to get it down to a number 1 through 11. So 3 plus 9 is 12. Okay, and then we can still reduce that one more. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. So a 3 is the life path number for someone born on this date, okay? Now that's what you would refer to yourself as when you're talking about numerology. We'll say, I'm a 3. That's your specific birth date gives you that number, okay? That's the most significant number you have in numerology. It tells you your life path, literally kind of like what your journey is about and what your emphasis is. And now a 3, we can look at our tic-tac-toe thing here, for lack of a better term. And a 3 is right here on that mind plane. And, it's very good to have a number that wasn't already represented, because that brings more balance. That fills in that square in a way. And so you're more balanced. But here it kind of does the opposite. It even puts more emphasis on the mind plane. So this is really someone that's very, very intellectual. Um, you know, thought is everything to them. They're constantly looking forward, to put that work into, what it is all the time. And so too much of one element can be detrimental sometimes. Those air signs can really get too much in their heads. It's hard. So hopefully this earth energy, this grounding, is a way for them to just walk out of that from time to time and really get into an simplicity, a way of doing manual physical labor that's less intellectual. So that's good to see. So we're going to move on here to the name aspect. So we're going to use this example of a name, and I finally found that chart I was looking for on my phone. So a T, we're going to take 2, a Y is 7, L is 3, E is 5, and R is 9. Okay, so I put the E up above because it is a vowel. It still adds the same, but the separation is just easier. So we're just going to add up all of these. So you can do this in a number of ways. We're going to do 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 9 is going to be 21, and then you can add that to the 5 too. So 21 plus 5 is 6, or you can do 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 3 is 12, 12 plus 5 is 17, 17 plus 9 is 26, sorry. So you're going to get 26 either way, basically. So just add it all up, and we're going to reduce just like we did over here. So that 2 plus 6 is going to end up being an 8. So an 8 is the number for the name Tyler. So that's going to have its own chart, just like we did with the birth date. And then those two are significators of that person. So you take the birth date chart and the name chart, and you see, where the strengths and weaknesses are, if they balance each other out, okay? So let's go ahead and put this into perspective. So we've got a 2 here, we've got a 7, a 3, there's another 3, okay, a 5, and a 9. Okay, so here we do have an arrow. It's going there, and then that's good that it's full, because that means that you have it rather than what's missing. Okay, that's literally what that means. So in this chart, maybe I should have shown you before I drew the arrow. So the ones that are over here are missing over here. So that kind of balances it out. The 4 balances that out as well. Look at this. Okay, so the 2 and the 5 balance that out because it's missing over there. We've got a 3 in both places. It's not a bad thing, but that 3 is very instrumental in this person's life. This person I made up because I don't know anyone with this combination. But so 3 is very significant. We're missing a 6 over here, but we have it there, and then we have another 9. So threes and nines. So again, a lot of mind energy, um, lots of thought, intellect. This is a visionary, somebody that's really, really known for their perspective and their unique way of looking and thinking about things. And people go to them for answers. It could tie into that counseling that I talked about here with the 6. It could be an advisor of some kind, just somebody that really, really has a unique way of looking at the world and expressing themselves. So here, this is kind of how maybe people view you. Maybe think of this as like your sun energy. You get referred to by your name. People don't automatically know your birth date. They don't know your life path right away, but they feel that energy when they call out to you, like "Yo, Tyler," da 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 da. So they're identifying with that more so. This is more of you in your life's journey. Okay. Think of this as your life path numbers, maybe your moon, how you truly are, and what your purpose is in the world. And astrologically, your sun energy is your name and how people see you. Okay, so the Tylers of the world, they get an 8, and an 8's missing here, so we're glad to fill that up. So with that 8, it's very emotional. Um, they wear their hearts on their sleeves. They put it all out there. They're very expressive signs. They can master that emotion by having all that in there. It could be that they go to the extreme and then they have too much emotion, but look at that perfect balance here. 2, 5, 8, exactly what we're missing over here. I literally just drew this date out of my head. I don't know where it came from, but it's a good balance. It doesn't usually work like that. So um, that would, really, really stabilize this person because we have everything we don't over here. That's wonderful. And so the real emphasis is on what we have a lot of. So we have the 3s and the 9s. So, like I said, that mental emphasis that this is taking, Gemini and Sagittarius, this is all about going places. This is about, short trips, doing daily activities, school, lots of schooling. This person could be a professor, a teacher, someone that's really, really involved in academia um, and honors that institution. Could be a writer, Gemini, Mercury energy. But this is someone that's really done a lot of traveling, really ventured out, gone on some adventures. Like that just has that unique Aquarian perspective, and wants to kind of show the world that. Because this person is very expressive with the emotions, very engaging, very humanistic, even though there is so much of a unique perspective. So there's a good balance of having that Aquarian energy, that otherworldly energy, and relating to people in human terms. Okay, so this is really cool to see here, and I'm sorry that this is probably a hell of a lot of information. Maybe I'll do another video with arrows and we'll get into that, but I just kind of wanted you guys to get an easy synopsis. So, but remember, the 3 here is the life path number. That's what you're going to refer to yourself as. So go ahead and add up the digits in your birthday and reduce them down to a number 1 through 11. And then just Google, what is a 9? What is a 5? There's plenty of free websites that go into those details and kind of give you like a really brief summary. Okay? And then see if maybe you're recognizing that life path number in different areas of your life. Like I said before, your phone number, your address, your license plate, the store you work at, the times that you notice on the clocks. Like do you turn your volume up to a certain number or something like that? Just see if that's significant in your life, because I bet you it is. So yeah, do some research of your own. All right.